Rudy Tooty, all you disco cuties. Welcome to Final Guys.
BS artist.
We, tonight, are getting greasy with the Greasy Strangler, harkening back to the days of disco and big, giant, turnip-looking penises. I'm Hunter Shea, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jack Campisi.
Greasy Jackie.
And Jason Brant.
I was going to go with bullshit artist, but Jack took it already.
I was tempted to start the episode with the three of us just chanting Rudy Tooty, Disco Cutie until it was uncomfortable. But if people watched the movie, they had enough discomfort to last probably a lifetime. So you got my head, my hat, my hair.
Is that light coming from the wig, or is there light shining on you?
There is light emanating from this wig.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Probably going to set my head on fire at one point because it's getting really hot already.
That is a pretty slick wig.
Disco stew.
I got this at disco night at a minor league baseball game like last year. We have 4 of them. How do I look? I feel like the mother from Everybody Loves Raymond.
You might have a shot at the old man from this movie.
That's what I'm going for. This movie is all about #life goals. But before we get into the absolute abject insanity of this flick, Jack, why don't you bestow on us all that is in the horror news? And I know you have a nugget that's going to make us all very excited.
Well, I had my usual news, and then our good friend Audra Stinson hit us up moments before the show started with huge news. The Batter Ben trailer hit today. So I had a chance, and Jason had a chance just now to watch it. We're still in awe from the glory that is, God damn it, the Batter Ben sequel. And Hunter, you didn't get to watch it yet, did you?
I didn't, because I was busy futzing with this freaking microphone before we started.
It's just, I put it on the Final Guys Facebook page, so you guys could go check it out. Enough said. I mean, I don't want to give it away. You just have to watch it, and you're going to love what happens in it.
Jack, did it live up to everything you wanted it to be?
All I'll say is this. You said something about socks and sandals when you were watching it, and that is exactly the moment that, like, it took it to another level for me.
Hey, I know it's got to be good, because when I walked back in, Jason's watching the trailer, and he looked like a little kid. So he was like, oh, he was so excited. He was giddy over it. So
I really should have recorded my reaction.
We really should have.
Oh, I am so excited for this.
Let's just say all the things that you were like, this is not going to be good. They did the biggest thing they could have done. Should I just tell them?
Do it.
It's a
trailer.
It's a trailer. So yeah, you can.
Our buddy, God damn it, is back.
My favorite guy ever.
And it's kind of like, when, like the X-Men movies, like they kill somebody off and then they bring them back without explaining it because they're like, that was dumb. They kind of explain it in the trailer, but I don't care. Bad Ben needs him. And so I'm very happy.
We all agreed that our problem with Steelmanville Road is that he wasn't in it.
Yes.
And he's back. And in the trailer, he swears at least 4 or 5 times. It's awesome.
I might like him more than Jason and Michael Myers combined at this point.
He's the horror icon of a new generation.
He is the cowbell, and we got to have more cowbell.
Yes.
I got to have Bad Ben t-shirts with his face on it.
I'm excited for it about here, the new Star Wars about here, and Batter Ben is just off the charts. I can't wait.
So
what a great title.
That's the best. I don't know. All the other news is going to pale in comparison, but
let's just end the show now.
I mean, really. Seacrest out. Okay. So first of all, second of all, I guess, Drew Barrymore is producing a female-centric horror anthology show for the CW. Now, first of all, Drew Barrymore has some horror chops. Naturally, she was in the beginning of Scream, and then just recently she was on the Santa Clarita Diet, which was awesome.
Despite her acting.
Yes, but she was...
We stressed that. Despite her terrible acting, it was great.
So this thing is going to be called the Black Rose Anthology, and as the name suggests, it'll be an anthology series on the CW consisting of hour-long episodes, each written and directed by women. It will explore some of humanity's deepest fears from a woman's unique perspective. So, Hunter, you'll be able to relate to this.
It's totally.
Classic themes of terror will be tackled via vignettes about guilt, jealousy, repression, paranoia, insanity, sexual obsession, and survival through a modern and distinctly feminine lens.
I like a feminine lens.
Maybe less slashery and more psychological terror.
Tell me more about the female side, Jack.
Well, it's a natural diuretic. You get your period.
Oh my God. You got a lot going on if you have your period and a diuretic going on.
That's from The Departed.
From the
cranberry juice. It's a natural diuretic. You get your period.
I thought I had to show you the book again.
That's a guy you almost can't hit, but I'm making a ruling you can't hit him. Anyway, what do you think of that?
I like it.
You in? I know Brant is.
I'll give it a shot.
Gilmore Girls is off the air. You need something to watch.
Yeah, I was a huge fan.
I'm going through my fourth viewing of One Tree Hill, the entire series.
So basically, it just sounds like it's XX from Netflix, but in TV show.
You know, I gotta say, I'll wait for the trailer for this one because there's a lot of stuff on TV now that, like American Horror Story, is starting tonight, I think, and I can care less. So
I'm so glad I'm not going to be watching it.
Yeah, so we'll see. But Drew Barrymore, she gives me a little hope. They put a little backbone, maybe a little budget behind it. So that's through Drew Barrymore news.
Hey, speaking of Drew Barrymore, my editor and I go to a restaurant in Manhattan that used to be her grandfather's home.
Oh.
Now it's a nice, fancy Italian restaurant, but it's kind of cool.
Is it that John Barrymore?
No, her grandfather was it Lionel? Maybe it was John. I forget. There's so many Barrymores. Lionel Barrymore. That's my best impression. Or Simon Bar Sinister. I don't know which it is.
Simon Says.
Well, it was based on him, so.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard this one, but Warner Brothers is developing a standalone Joker movie, which will be a gritty crime origin story of the Joker set in the 80s and will not be attached to the current DC extended universe of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So a different actor is going to play the Joker, and it's going to be like a standalone movie, to which Jared Leto is allegedly not very happy about. And if there was ever a red flag about your movie franchises, when they start to spin off your characters and standalone, talk about saturating the market. But Martin Scorsese is being courted to direct it.
Oh, God almighty. Come on.
And part of the reason is because they want Leonardo DiCaprio to play the Joker.
There we go. We'll get the first big round-headed, fat, bloated-faced Joker of all time.
Feeding right into my prior Departed.
Oh, I see what you did.
Oh, wow. Somebody's scripting the show out now.
I actually did that by accident because of diuretics.
Did you see Suicide Squad?
I did. I wanted to commit suicide after.
That Joker was so bad. I can understand wanting to just get the hell away from that.
Oh, God.
And Jared Leto is awesome in almost everything he does. I don't understand why it was so poor, but it was not good.
Yeah, that movie misfired on so many levels. And maybe if they had more Joker in it and had a more coherent story. Anyway, there's talk of them doing, like, you know how the comic books have like these one-off Elseworld kind of things. DC is starting to explore maybe doing that. You know, look, everybody always talks about superhero fatigue potentially setting in because there's so many coming out with everybody. This is the thing for me, and I'm like the superhero movie junkie. I'm going, okay, wait. You know, people who aren't like hardcore like us are gonna be like, wait, how come the Joker is this guy and not this guy? People just don't get it. So
see, it's movies like this that's actually going to poison the well. So you get enough crap DC, that's going to ruin the Marvel thing. It'll turn everybody away from the whole damn thing, which might be a good thing.
Although I will say, if Scorsese and DiCaprio put together a Joker movie, I definitely want to see what they come up with. So.
Look, I'll try it. It sounds more interesting than the other stuff they've done. I don't know. I guess maybe I don't think people are as completely dumb that they won't be able to understand it's a one-off, but I don't know.
Maybe there'll be a lot of narration in 70s music.
Dude, it would be better than Suicide Squad.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, I took a good nap in that, so it was nice.
The other problem is the Joker is really best left to not having an origin story. The Killing Joke made him sort of like sometimes remember it one way, sometimes remember the other. Heath Ledger kept telling different accounts of his past, kind of keeping the Joker an enigma, not like the Riddler. Seems like a better move. So if they're going to do this, I hope they're really careful with telling us too much about, who he was before.
Oh, you're definitely right there. I think a character like him is probably better being the supporting character because then he can always be interesting. If he has his own movie, I don't know. If it's Scorsese, I mean, whatever, I'll watch it.
Then eventually they could spin it off to Kindergarten Joker, where he's undercover at a at a daycare.
He's partnered with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's not a tumor.
Boys don't have a penis. Why so curious?
Hey, George. So, the final piece of news, and Hunter, I know you're going to probably be very excited about this in particular.
Okay.
William Friedkin, the man behind The Exorcist, has a new movie coming out called The Devil and Father Amorth, and for it, he filmed a real exorcism.
Oh, I do like that a lot.
The iconic director of The Exorcist returns to the world of demonic possession in the new film, The Devil and Father Amorth. The movie debuted at the Venice Film Festival. He said about the exorcism, it was terrifying. I went from being afraid of what could happen to feeling a great deal of empathy for this woman's pain and suffering, which is obvious in the film. He was granted access to film The Exorcist alone, and he used the Sony still camera that shot on high def. And let's see, the subject of the documentary had undergone 8 exorcisms, and he came in and filmed the 9th. She was getting like 1 a month.
And 9th is part of 3, which is part of 666. It all works out.
Yeah. And the filmmaker consulted with scientists in the U.S. about what he filmed, and they told him they had never seen anything like it.
As a person who will often watch exorcist videos online for hours on end and just creep my shit out, I'm very psyched to see this then.
Yeah, whatever. I'll watch it.
Well, you're a heathen. You don't care.
Not particularly.
I want to see America's Funniest Home Exorcisms.
Yeah.
Like
the only
Bob Saget.
The only Christian bone Jason has in his body is Father McGillicuddy's.
I would say like the priest gets hit in the nuts with a bloody cross.
You son of a bitch.
Who wants to play leapfrog with the acolytes again? Get me the wine, our Father who art in heaven. Holy Jesus, I'm wasted.
And this goes to that's all the news that's fit to print.
That's great news.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll watch a movie where they're screwing with a mentally ill person, throwing holy water on them. Whatever.
All right, whatever. You know what?
We'll see what happens.
Get your shit together now, man, because eternity is a long damn time. We can't do this show after you're dead.
I'm not even going into religion. I'm just talking about these amazing exorcisms that are all over the internet.
Oh, my God. I know that most of them are fake, but it's still just the sounds. And if you're late at night, you got your headphones on, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, back in the 70s, they had a show, Those Amazing Animals. They could do those amazing exorcisms.
With Tom Bergeron as the host.
It would be on True TV.
Okay, Jack, thank you for the news.
You're
I'm
welcome
looking forward to 2 out of those 3 things. Okay. Jason, I want to hear what you watched, and feel free to leave out the movie that you just watched that was so memorable you couldn't even remember it.
I sat and read the description over and over until it clicked, and then I do remember it now. But
that's terrible. Good Lord.
Okay, I'll just get that one out of the way first. I actually got an email from Netflix that there was a new movie that I would want to watch, so check it out. And it was called Be Afraid. Just hit Netflix 2-3 days ago, maybe. You should be afraid to watch it. It's not good. It's so memorable. I literally could not remember watching it, and I think I saw it on Friday or Saturday.
Oh my God!
Yeah, there was
you
something
roofied
about
on Saturday.
it didn't make sense, and I didn't understand why anything was happening. But there were kids disappeared, and something with sleep paralysis, and a sheriff who was involved with the kids disappearing into a tunnel with creatures or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't make any sense. Don't watch it.
I won't.
That's Be Afraid on Netflix. Then I watched on Shudder, probably. God damn it. The Backwoods.
Damn it.
The Backwoods stars Gary Oldman. It's from 2006. And he and his girlfriend or wife and another couple go to a house he bought in Spain that I believe belonged to his grandmother, something like that. And it's out in the middle of nowhere, no cell phones, no internet, nothing. And
No phones, no light, no motor car, not a single luxury.
Is that a reference?
Yeah, Gilligan's Island.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
God. Man, I haven't watched that in 25 years. Wow. That was a serious slap in the face. I can't believe I didn't remember that. What the hell? Oh, Backwoods, yes. So anyway, they go hunting one day, and they discover an abandoned house, and inside they find a girl chained to the wall, and there's no one around. And her hands are deformed. She's very afraid of everything, and they try to get her through the woods to the police to get help. And these crazy locals find out this girl's missing and start then hunting Gary Oldman and crew. It was a decent movie. It was shot just like a 70s film, the way the aspect ratios were and the lenses.
Was it gritty?
You know, it didn't quite have enough film grit, maybe.
Not like House of the Devil. I mean, that's the ultimate like 70s throwback modern movie.
This was shot even more like a 70s film than that was. Just the style and everything, they really nailed it looking like a 70s film. The problem was the story just wasn't all that interesting. And the characters were just okay. Gary Oldman kills it. Gary Oldman always kills it. But, you know, it wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't tell anyone not to watch it, but it just didn't quite fully click with me. But it was shot very, very intelligently. Like, it really did look like a period film, so it's got that going. I finally watched Sinister 2 on HBO.
Sorry.
I love the first Sinister. I think it's a really, really interesting movie. And I didn't want this. I had to get one in. I didn't watch the sequel right away because I had just had not a good feeling about it. And that feeling was correct. It wasn't terrible, but all the creepiness that was in the first one wasn't really in this. And this had a bunch of jump scares. And those just annoy the crap out of me for the most part. And this had them in spades. Way too much Bagul or whatever the hell the guy is.
Way too much Bagul. It was the Bagul show.
Pasta Bagul.
I thought the idea of the deputy from the first one being the main guy in this one was a good idea. But
Bagul is the name of the monster in Sinister?
Yeah.
I only saw Sinister once, and I never saw the second one.
Yeah,
don't watch the second one.
I want an onion bagul.
Get down with Bagul if you want to be cool.
They started moving him more in the...
Bagul's on this guy.
Jimmy Bag of Baguls.
Bagul.
They moved it more
here
in
he
the
goes.
slasherish direction where he's standing behind people and you're seeing him in reflections and just... I don't know. It wasn't terrible, but all that stuff, it really didn't have the feel of the first movie for me. And I liked the first one quite a bit. So
Yeah, that second one was trash.
And finally, I watched Before I Fall, which just came out this year. I thought it was going to be more of a horror movie, and it's a thriller mystery kind of thing, really. But I figured I'd talk about it in case anybody else, like me, thought it was going to be more of a horror movie. It's basically Groundhog Day, but with a teen who dies and then just keeps living through her day. Almost like, what was that preview for that movie we saw?
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death
I am
Day.
and I Am a Ghost. That was another Groundhog Day movie. What the hell?
Yeah. This was just Groundhog Day without humor and with cancerous music. I don't know if I'm just so old that I don't understand new pop music or what the deal is, but the music in this was rough. I don't. Do you know when you watch a horror movie or really any kind of movie, and you see all the kids in school, and you see the high school, and you think there is no high school like this. Like everyone is beautiful, everyone is rich, everything is great. Okay, now imagine that, but to the 25th power, and that is the high school in this movie. I didn't even know it was a high school. Probably 20 minutes in, I thought maybe they were in some private college or something.
Some boarding school.
To be fair, this movie is not aimed for me. It was clearly aimed for a teenage audience, so I'm not going to trash it too much. It had some pretty good stuff in it, but for the most part, I really struggled with the teenage stuff. It just didn't hold me. So
just so listeners know, Jason, even though he looks young, he's not a teen. He just stares at him from his car.
I am old as shit. Yes, I just lure them with candy, and apparently now I need to use bad pop music too. So.
Hey, you did good job in cheerleading practice there. Get over it.
So that was Before I Fall. I would probably give that a pass and wait for Happy Death Day because it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
That's it.
Jack, let's get through this because this wig, I might die in the middle of this. I cannot breathe through the top of my head.
First, I have a confession to make.
Go ahead.
A lot of the times it's the dumb crap you wear I think is dumb crap.
Yeah.
I freaking love this wig so much.
When next time you come to my house, you can share it with me.
I'm all about that.
Maybe you can be in the sequel to the Greasy Strangler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Grease
God.
2.
I would kill to be in that. The Greasier Strangler. Look, Jack's off his game now.
Batter Grease. God damn it. Guys, I watched very good movies this week. I'm very excited. First of all, there's a new movie on Netflix called Little Evil. It's a made-for-Netflix movie. It's a horror comedy. It's got Adam Scott, who is a horror guy. He was in Krampus. He's the guy from Parks and Rec, and he's the brother and stepbrothers. Catalina wine mixer. Evangeline Lilly, who's lovely, is his wife, and there's a whole bunch of comedian guys that you'll see as side characters. Basically, it's about he marries Evangeline Lilly, and her son is pretty much the Antichrist, like a Damien Omen type figure.
Like
and
growing up.
Hilarity and horror ensue. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but it's worth a few laughs, and it's probably better than the usual, Netflix dreg. So it's worth a look. It's got a few laughs. Like I said, not Shaun of the Dead level funny or anything like that, but not Scary Movie 4 bad. Worth a look.
How much is Shaun of the Dead level? I mean, come on.
Shaun of the Dead is hilarious.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's not much.
Yeah, there's not much yet.
You said that was Little Evil?
Little Evil. Just came out. Brand new. Brand spanking new. Now, I saw another movie. It's called After.Life. After.Life. After period life. It's 2009. Christina Ricci, Liam Neeson, and Justin Long. Oh. Because I'm on a Justin Long tear right now.
I saw that movie.
So
I'm not going to say anything.
Let's put it this way. Christina Ricci is a school teacher. She's in a car accident and dies. She comes to on the slab in the morgue, and Liam Neeson is the funeral director who is preparing her body, and she can talk to him, and he's like, "You're dead. I'm preparing you for passing on." And basically, she spends the rest of the movie in the morgue, trying to get out, trying to figure things out, and dealing with the fact that she's dead. And Justin Long plays her fiance, who's kind of busted up about the whole thing. And all kinds of weird stuff happens. This is my one-sentence review of this movie, and Hunter, okay. You'll get it. Mm-hmm. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's the best movie in the world.
Oh, yes, it is.
Christina Ricci is just ridiculously pretty, and sometimes I want to stop and cry. And she's naked a lot in this movie, and even when she's not naked, she's just so pretty and charming, and I need to care for her. And
oh my God,
and printing screenshots.
Oh my God! Just so anyway, not a lot happens in the movie. It's not very scary. It's kind of interesting.
So is this going to replace Black Snake Moan in your rotation? What you just put on every night?
No, it
Pass
just
out
is
in a
it's just
wad of
every other
Kleenex.
one. It's no Black Snake Mode.
Love that movie.
But it's not a great movie, but it's worth a watch. That's how I would put it. What'd you think of it? You saw it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought it would be some. I didn't see who was in it, so when I started watching, I go, what actors in this? What the hell are they? Why are they doing this movie? And I thought it was atmospheric and it was really cool. And she was very naked, and I was very happy.
Yeah, it holds your
Again,
attention the
high on
whole
the
time. You
boobometer.
want to know what the hell's going on. Yeah,
Right,
boobometer.
exactly. It was it was beyond the boobs. I actually was into the story.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie with great nudity. That's
There we go.
Sums
That's
it
why
up.
we're the final guys, not the final girls.
My last movie is so freaking good. You have to go watch it. It is every horror fan's duty to see this movie. Part of what I grew up on, and Hunter too, were devil worshiper movies, particularly in the 70s. There was like Race with the Devil and a lot of other ones. A lot of
The Exorcist,
cloaked,
The Omen, all that stuff.
a lot of cloaked devil worshippers, people in the community chasing you and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of over the top. One such movie from 1975 is called The Devil's Reign, and you have to freaking see this movie. First of all, it's William Shatner. After Star Trek TV show, but before the motion picture, in that beautiful heyday of T.J. Hooker hair before T.J. Hooker. But not only that, we've got...
Is it hair fresh from the factory?
Probably. Tom Skerritt is his brother.
Ooh.
Ernest
Love Tom
Borgnine
Skerritt.
is the head of the satanic cult. And at one point, towards the end of the movie, transforms into a demon, and it looks like Ernest Borgnine in a Muppets satanic movie. Like he's got the horns and makeup and stuff, and he looks like he's like an ogre in The Frog Prince or something. Like it's freaking awesome. And Ernest Borgnine plays this dead seriously and is doing like satanic prayers and stuff. But that's not it. Eddie Albert's in this. Keenan Wynn is in this. Keenan Wynn is in this.
Exactly.
The voice of the Winter Warlock in Santa Claus Comes Down. John Travolta in one of his first roles as one of the satanic goons.
Oh, really? I didn't remember that.
And to the icing on the satanic cake, Anton LaVey was a technical advisor on this and has a bit role as a high priest of Satan. The high priest of Satan is in the movie
As the High Priest of Satan.
as high priest of Satan. But then later on, the movie was pretty bad, and so he was hoping it was going to like be a recruiting film, and instead like he sort of like stopped like promoting it and stuff because it was so stupid.
Oh
It
my
is
God.
such a fun. It makes no sense. There's a lot of like melting people, and it charts. It's
like I'm doing right now under
Yes.
the stupid pink wig.
I watched it on Sunday during the rainy day, and I could not have been happier. What a great pick! The Devil's Reign, 1975, all-star cast, Satan worshippers chasing people, Shatner screaming. If you watch Event Horizon, the missing eyeball thing is they got it right from this movie.
Where did you find it? Because I haven't seen that since the 90s.
It's either on Amazon Prime or Shudder, one of those two.
Oh, beauty. Okay.
So look it up and you'll find it. And I didn't have to pay whatever I did.
Right. Kids pay.
Yeah. So man, I'll tell you. So Devil's Reign, After.Life, and Little Evil, I enjoyed all three. Devil's Reign is like one of those like I'm so happy I have access to movies like this. So
Beauty.
I just looked it up. It is on Shudder. Nice.
that's all I got.
That's going on my list. Okay, let me jump in here. I saw 3 movies. I went back to my Italian cinema kind of experiment that I'm doing. And I remembered when we saw Evil Dead as a family in the movie theater with it, called Gates of Hell
Oh yeah.
by, oh my God, who's the other guy? there's Lucio Fulci. So I was looking for it. I said, well, let me find it. I forgot it's really called City of the Living Dead. And it is kind of coherent for one of these kind of cheapo Italian horror flicks. There is a very cool scene in the beginning where a woman is buried alive, and they're burying her in some cemetery, I think over in Brooklyn somewhere, because the Manhattan skyline's in the distance. And you hear her desperately trying to get out, and she's screaming. And this reporter is kind of wandering around out there, and he hears her. My favorite part is to get her out, because they've already put the dirt over her. He takes a pickaxe and starts driving it into the coffin right where her head would be. So it keeps shooting in, like one side of her head, the other side of her head, stops before her nose. And then when he does pull it out, there's like this opening in the coffin, and all you see is her face, and she's screaming bloody murder. For that scene alone, it's worth it. But it's the whole thing about a priest. This makes very little logic, but a priest hangs himself in Dunwich, someplace in upstate New York, and it opens the gates of hell. God knows why, but this reporter goes up there, and they gather some people together to close the gates of hell. They never explain how they're going to do it. Visually, it's got some really cool gore. These zombies, what they like to do is grab you by the back of the head and just crush your skull till your brain squeeze through their fingers.
I like
that part was kind of cool. And like I said, good gore. A couple of people who you thought were the stars get killed. So you're like, oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
But the ending, it's like this hour and a half lead up, and then the way they stop it, it was just the stupidest thing you could ever imagine. It's almost as bad as Bobby Ewing, taking a shower in the morning. Like, what? So it's not a dream, but it's just dumb. But anyway, it's a cool movie. So, and it took me back to, because that was the first movie we saw that night, and then Evil Dead came on, and that was it, man. I became unhinged when Evil Dead was on.
So, City of the Living Dead, you said?
City of the Living Dead, yes.
I've had that movie for probably 15 years, and I've never actually watched it.
Give it a shot. There's far worse out there.
I struggle with Italian horror a lot of times.
Me too. That's why I'm forcing myself to go back in there.
I need to.
I watched all those Italian horror when I was in high school, and they were tough to get through. I saw a few of them, like House by the Cemetery in the theater. I think that one I rented as Gates of Hell.
Well, City of the Living Dead, it's part of a trilogy, and House of the Cemetery is also part of that. So it's City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, and something else. Oh, The Beyond. Those are the three loose movies in that.
I've seen The
trilogy,
Beyond,
which is actually a decent movie because it's so weird. The other movie I watched is a French film called Them. Now, I was expecting giant ants, like my favorite ever monster movie, but there were no giant ants. Them is a home invasion movie with this teacher and her husband who live in, I think it's Croatia or someplace where she's teaching. Never get a remote house in the middle of nowhere. Always a bad idea. It's like an hour and 15 minutes long, and they are being hunted and stalked and driven out of their house and eventually into these tunnels under the under the ground of the forest. It's really cool because it's so short. There isn't a lot of time to build up these characters, but it doesn't matter. It's the chase and the weird tension that makes the difference, and it's just done so well. And the best part is you learn at the end it's based on a true story. And when you find out who the killers are, you're gonna shit yourself.
Too late.
Oh, sorry. So check out Them. We actually watched it on my Patreon page. That was our movie to watch for the month, and we had some fun with that. So now I am under pressure to find a movie as good as that next time.
I think that's on Shudder, right?
It is. It's Shudder or Prime. It was one of those.
It's subtitled?
I think Prime. It is, but they say about 40 words of the entire movie. So you Francais.
I wave my private parts at your auntie.
Touch my baguette. The other one I watched is a documentary in my quest to watch every dumb UFO documentary I can find. This one is called Unacknowledged. That is put out by Dr. Stephen Greer, which people in the UFO field know he's always trying to communicate with aliens, and he finds little alien bodies.
Is he related to Rosie Greer?
I wish he was related to Rosie Greer. Then I'd put him on Ray Milland's dead body and watch them run around.
Pam Greer could watch.
Yeah, this was it's a decent, as far as UFO documentaries go, it's decent. There was nothing really earth shattering in it for me, but for not the uninitiated, but maybe the quasi initiated into UFO lore, you should watch it. There's some good stuff in there. A lot of times I just want people to shut up and just show me video, and it felt like they were reading my mind with some UFO alien bullshit, because every time I started to think that, boom, they started showing stuff, weird video of sightings and stuff like that. So it's cool. Unacknowledged. It is on Netflix. So
I've seen that thumbnail come up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so have I.
It was decent. Jason, you'll watch it. You'll like it.
The thumbnail came up, but I didn't acknowledge it.
God.
You're such a pinus.
I got it in.
I read a book.
Punness.
A punness. This book was, I have an autograph that says, Hunter, I'm drunk. Tim Meyer. It's The Thin Veil by Tim
Is that
Meyer.
an arc?
No, it's not an arc. It's a full book.
Okay.
We would
The
explain
Thin
what that
Veil-
means again, like you did last week, but I don't think most of our audience is illiterate as you are.
Yeah, exactly. You dick. So anyway, you dingus. This is a cross between Stranger Things and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And Tim wrote this before Stranger Things came about. But I'll just read the back here. Let Tim say it better than I can. Something strange is happening in the small town of Pleasant Plains, New Jersey. People are getting sick. Peculiar noises can be heard from inside their homes. Some of them are acting weird, kind of like Jack, speaking unknown languages, like French. Then there are the butterflies and the green pulsating light coming through the cracks in the walls. Oh, and the hunger. Yes, the people of Pleasant Plains are starving, and nothing seems to satisfy their primary desire, except the children. Kind of cool. Any book where you're actively trying to kill kids, I'm kind of all for it. Weirdly enough, my wife is really down for that kind of shit. Don't understand. We've raised 2 children. They haven't been murdered yet, so I guess she can contain that urge. But check it out. The Thin Veil by Tim Meyer. Great writer, awful watcher of movies.
Worst taste ever.
Yep. All his taste is in his butthole. So,
Before we jump in the movie, I forgot I got something too, and it was from loser called Hunter Shea. A little
don't make me flip my wig.
audio book from Graphic Audio. I didn't realize that's who had done it. But I haven't listened to this yet, but I'm so excited
Vivid
because
video.
how many actors did they get to be in this freaking thing?
A shit ton.
It's incredible.
Which is
Jesus.
it's a metric measure. Shit ton.
Starring Ray Romano as the Jersey Devil.
Ah!
I can't believe you didn't sign it though, you dickwad. Come on, man.
Well, because it's wrapped in plastic. You don't need my
Shit.
signature.
It's fantastic.
Look, you have 45 dick pics I've sent you. You want my signature?
Yes. Jack,
know.
you are on a roll, man.
When you have nothing good to say, just splurt shit out like you have Tourette's. The Jack
Whatever, it's
now
working.
is 2 episodes
If
in.
I had Tourette's, I'd be in a freaking seizure right now from the blinking lights in your head.
Oh, God. You'll be in a seizure and I'm about to faint. Okay. Let's take not a break whatsoever, but I will tell you all, watch us on live every week. We're here on our YouTube channel, finalguys.com. You can find us, and we're here at 7 p.m. Eastern time every single Tuesday, talking like morons and making fun of ourselves and giving you a curation of horror movies and books to watch. And also, if you're on iTunes, please rate us, like us, review us. And if you review us, reach out to me, huntershea1@gmail.com, and I will send you a book, as I have done several times this week. So push us up in the ratings, man. We want to be the tops, pops at the tops of the tops of the pops.
Hunter, does the curtains match the rug?
As a matter of fact, oh, I can't. I got my cut piece on today. So we're gonna dump in. You know what? That's perfect. Dump is perfect. for
It
this.
is.
We're going to dump all over the Greasy Strangler, which I forced you guys to watch. I feel like I forced Jack more because he wanted to do something else. But I was insistent. I will say, Tim Meyer, Chuck Buda, and Frank Edler were the writers that got me to watch it, and I in turn have to pass it on like gonorrhea, and then you guys have to pass it on.
I was thinking it's more like the tape from The Ring. If you don't show someone, you're just gonna die.
Exactly. Who wants to explain this movie?
Not
Anyone
me.
want to take a stab at it?
Fine.
Go for it.
It's a giant-dicked old man and his micro-penised son eat grease and walk around either half-naked or wearing the most bizarre shit you've ever seen, with some of the worst music you've ever heard playing in the background. They are trying to or are banging the same woman, and I'm trying not to go into spoilers, but there really aren't any spoilers that matter in this movie.
No.
And let's see.
There's a strangler afoot.
There
And
is
not just a strangler, but a greasy strangler. Yes, this strangler is covered with grease. But who could he be? Could he be the old man who lives with his strange son as they
Looks
give
exactly
disco
like his son.
tours each day?
Oh my God. Well, there you go.
Yes, there's a greasy strangler.
Which is a man.
It's not even a
covered in
mystery. The first time you see him, it's like, oh, okay, I know who that is.
How nobody catches the greasy strangler is beyond me in this movie.
I don't think anybody cares. I know I sure didn't.
Oh, Jack, what do you think of this movie? I want to hear your thoughts. And what do you think of me for making you watch it?
I'd heard about this movie a year ago and almost watched it, and then I had to pay to watch it, and I was really not interested in dropping money. And I take it back. It's probably the greatest movie I've ever seen, and I would have paid triple what you'd want. I wish I'd seen it in IMAX, and I just really have never been so moved and inspired by a movie.
I thought
Just kidding.
I thought you'd love it because you're the Vaseline stranger, and I figured you'd really be into the Greasy Strangler.
I got a kick out of this movie, but I also thought for all the grease, it kind of ran out of gas. So I'm definitely glad I saw it for the conversation. And there was a lot of WTF moments naturally that we'll get into.
The whole movie was a WTF moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But however, there was definitely a feeling of people trying hard to make a bizarre movie. I felt like somebody said, what if John Waters had made Napoleon Dynamite? You'd get this.
You know what, Jack? I love that you said this. First of all, Tim Meyer just reminded me Elijah Woods produced this movie.
Oh, did he?
Yes. When it was done, I said if I was going to do like a movie depiction of this, I would say this is Twin Peaks having intense anal sex with Napoleon Dynamite while Liquid Sky masturbates in the corner.
Wow.
I would have said
that's what I
John
think.
Waters, Napoleon
I think it's
Dynamite
fitting.
with a splash of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the like goofy family. But yeah, I could totally see the Twin Peaks and all the other stuff you just said.
Oh my God.
I actually had thought almost exactly what you just said, Jack. I had thought John Waters meets Napoleon Dynamite.
It
But
definitely
not as
fits.
successfully as either one.
No, not at all. And there was definitely, and you can go, but I just kept thinking, like, where the hell did they come up with some of this stuff? Greasy Strangler and the whole grease thing, and they kind of never even like talk about it just is there, and nobody else. This Strangler thing is there. The rest of the public isn't talking about it, or what?
Get me more grease.
Okay, you guys say what you think about it, then we'll get into it.
Jason, what did you think? You watched it, I think, today, right?
Yeah, I snuck it in right before the show started. This movie is just god awful.
Rudy Tooty, Disco Cutie,
So-
Rudy Tooty, Disco Cutie.
The thing is, I don't even know if I can actually say it's god awful because it was clearly intended to be exactly what it was. It just was most certainly not my thing. The best way I could interpret it is they thought at every scene, at every moment, what can we do to gross people out or weird people out the most? And that's what they did. And it didn't have to make sense. It didn't have to have any kind of narrative flow. It just had to be disgusting and horrible. And they did a good job with that. They really did. I thought the way the movie was not amateur hour by any means. everything that they wanted to horrify you with was blocked very specifically. The giant red-tipped penis, all the horrible things in it, they framed it exactly the way they wanted, and it just was not my bag at all. It did not help that I had some pizza right when the movie started. And about 20 minutes in, I was like,
the tip of your pizza like really red?
Dude, I was like, I don't feel that good. It had extra cheese, and I'm looking at this dick like, ah.
We kept calling it turnip dick. We're like, look at that big old turnip dick.
This movie is why I miss video stores, because really the way you need to watch this movie is to discover it, kind of like Basket Case or something like that, where you come home, you don't know, there's no reviews online or anything, and you just come home with this thing and you're like, what did I just watch? And then a few years later you're talking to your friend and he's like, I love that movie, oh my god.
You know what, I gotta say, I really like the movie because it it repulsed me. I laughed. I was horrified. The Rudy Tooty Disco Cutie chanting was taken to Family Guy levels of uncomfortable stupidity. The giant amounts of pubic hair in this movie is just amazing. I mean, this curly wig that's on my head is half of anyone's pubis.
Oh, the sun, it was like a thumb sticking out of a Brillo pad.
Oh my god. You look like a maggot peeking out of grass.
Hello?
But that was the funny part. You got the big fat son who's got the tiny micro penis, and then you've got skinny old dad with a just giant rutabaga hanging out off of him.
He got that from the Boogie Nights set.
Oh my god. This movie is going to stick with me forever. I don't know whether we can say it's scarring. I will watch this movie over a mediocre horror movie again anytime, because it's just so bizarre. And I like a movie that makes somebody like me who's seen all this shit just sit back and go, wow.
So you actually found this movie funny?
Oh my god, there were parts I was rolling.
Yeah, see, I only laughed out loud once. And I laughed, it was a good laugh, but the humor didn't really work with me that much. And I love bad movies, but this just,
right.
I don't know, it just didn't hit with me.
I watched it with my wife too, and we both had a good time.
Thank God I didn't watch this with my wife. She'd be filing for divorce.
This movie did something that you just said with Family Guy. This thing took something right out of the Family Guy playbook, where they would let a gag run on really long.
Oh God!
And you know, I feel like in the second half of the movie, their bag of tricks was running out. So like the first half, when you got those three guys and they're trying to get the potato chips or whatever he says and stuff, I was like amusing. Towards the end, you're kind of like, okay, we need something.
Here's something I need in my life. I need a GIF of the old man going through that car wash. Ah! And getting all the grease taken, because that's how he would degrease himself, going to a car wash run by a blind guy. I could watch that 10-second GIF all day long.
I will say the one part that made me really laugh is when he busts into the son's room as the Greasy Strangler, grabs the woman, and like backhands his son onto the bed. I just almost pissed myself laughing at that. That was a good laugh. I didn't expect that.
And by the way, let's give kudos to these three actors. There's the father, son, and the girlfriend who comes between them. The bravest human beings ever to lay their shit out there for the entirety of this movie and looking that way.
I have seen way further inside that old man than I ever wanted to.
Oh my God.
A lot of fart jokes.
Oh my God. Too many fart jokes. Morning wood. The size of his morning wood. Good Christ. I know Jack wanted to climb on that. Little
timber.
Kill him in greasy charo. All right, so
I like how right in the beginning, he's like, you think I'm the Greasy Strangler, don't you?
He would say that anytime anyone hey, can you pass the ketchup? You think I'm the Greasy Strangler? What the fuck are you talking about, brother? And their disco tour is the greatest tour of all time.
Yes.
No, his disco suit is the greatest suit of all time with the see-through crotch.
Was that see-through or was his dick just hanging out? I couldn't
think
tell.
it was see-through. It was like a window in his suit, is the way it
So,
looked to me.
if you were to dress up like let's say at a Greasy Strangler Halloween party, which character or look would you go for? Like, would you go for the pink outfits? Would you go for the crotchless disco pants? Would you go for the Greasy Strangler bodysuit?
Well, here's something funny. Now, the old man is naked almost this entire movie, except when he's the Greasy Strangler. He has clothes on underneath the grease.
I think that was a grease suit. He was supposed to be naked, but it was a...
Yeah, that's the way I took it. He was supposed to be naked, but it was just obvious he was wearing clothing.
It was so weird. I'm like, why does he have clothes on now? It makes no sense whatsoever. Not that anything made sense.
It was a grease body stocking.
I think for Halloween, where we have 500 to 600 kids come to our door every year, I am going to go for the see-through crotch pants, and I'll enjoy Halloween from a jail cell.
I guess I'm just a little more old-fashioned. I think I just go with the banana hammock while cooking greasy sausage.
Oh yeah, what about that? They cook sausage and bacon with no clothes on. Are they out of their minds?
Oh, I totally thought that too. Like, oh, that's gotta hurt.
That was the least offensive thing in this movie.
Except that the food just looked so disgusting. I'm like, oh.
More grease!
When he dips the hot dog in the vat of grease, oh my God.
What hot dog vendor has just a vat of semi-coagulated grease sitting around?
That scene is actually this thing in a nutshell, because put more grease on. I can't. I'll lose my license. Put more grease on it. I can't. I'll lose my license. Put more grease on it. On and on and on.
Oh my God. Yeah. But, and then also he's got a hot dog cart in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. Like, who the fuck is coming there for a hot dog?
Yes.
Other than the Greasy Strangler.
This movie has inspired me, though. I think when people watch us live on YouTube every Tuesday, we should offer free drinks.
Okay. How do we get it to them?
Do you not remember that scene? Was that just an epic fail?
Oh my God. Yes, it was.
Yeah. He kills those 3 guys because he didn't have free drinks that were in his ad or some shit like that. They said it 50 million times.
Yeah, I know. Free drinks.
Is it free drinks or free beverages?
Or coffee. That guy was awesome. Does it matter that we do spoilers? No.
There are no spoilers in this movie.
Okay, here we go. Spoilers.
It is what it is. Exactly.
That woman was naked, though. You know what's funny? Is if you go to like a beach or a nude beach even, you see real humans in all different shapes and sizes. But in the movies and in magazines, you see like sculpted models and everything like that. So it's funny because there's like moments where you could like see nudity in a movie, like Kathy Bates or Sarah Silverman was naked in something, like people who aren't like, and you're like, oh, that's like real life. If I look in the mirror, I'm not like, so. This movie just like, now we're going to just take the worst naked you could possibly have. These 2 guys with prosthetic dicks.
Oh my God.
And the girl, she's very courageous. She's naked the whole time, just being an idiot. Like, and
I've seen a picture of her outside this movie, and she's pretty.
Yeah.
But she's got a wig like this. It didn't light up, but her wig, it was the same as what I'm wearing right now.
She wasn't just naked. She was chanting that hootie batootie, whatever the hell it was.
Rudy tootie, disco cutie.
While spreading her ass while the camera's in a close-up. Like, just anything this movie could do to be preposterous.
I smell Oscar.
I smell something. I smell corn.
Was that not? That's not what an Oscar smells like.
Delicious.
They really did stuff with the grease in this that I could see it seriously grossing a lot of people out.
First of all, who eats this much grease? What the fuck? His breakfast was so repulsive. I could stare at the prosthetic penis in the merkin all day long. The breakfast was really making me sick.
Especially made the extra greasy breakfast.
Oh my God.
Since we're in spoilers, there is one thing I wanted to bring up. What the hell was the ending?
I was just going to say, let's talk about the ending. Was that they looked like, oh, if we go down there to try and strangle them, they're going to capture us and shoot us, so we might as well just keep running? Or
what?
I have no idea what happened.
How are they watching themselves?
Well, their heads pop off and grease flies out of their heads. So
Right. But they're watching themselves from a distance.
I thought, were they like imagining, like, well, if we go down there, we're going to get shot by a firing squad? So that was them like imagining it. I don't know. I don't know.
Are we
I
trying to
think-
rationalize the irrational? That's probably
Yeah, I think the
most
writers
likely.
just said, "What's the stupidest fucking thing we can
Yes.
possibly do? Let's do this. Let's watch themselves get executed."
Well, after the M. Night Shyamalan like twist where the son becomes another Greasy Strangler, I mean, that was, who expected that?
Yeah, I never saw that coming.
Nobody, not at all.
Also, the what do you call it? Total Recall, like head poppings with the eyes.
I did like those. See, that's actually what I wanted more from this. I wanted this to go more in the Toxic Avenger route of just absolute insane over-the-top gore that you laugh at.
Right.
I feel like I would have been along with the ride a little more if that had been the humor.
Less weird chanting and pinus swinging, more killing.
More
Which I
trauma.
agree. That was the one thing to me that it lacks, because it succeeds in every other area that it could succeed in, is not enough death.
Wow, that's debatable, but
Every area it gave me everything.
I love the subtext and social commentary.
it's a very deep film.
Jack, do you want to explain what social issues it was tackling?
Well, you know, repression can be a tough thing, and also cholesterol.
Cholesterol.
They definitely didn't do body shaming because no one mentioned the fact that that guy had, it wasn't even a micro penis. I mean, that thing, the masturbation scene he has in it is like horrifying.
And we're not going to have many movies we review where we can say that masturbation scene was ... For
Yeah.
that, this is awesome. This is everything you could possibly want.
Thanks, Tim.
So, a friend of mine who loves horror movies, I was telling him about this, and I'm like, I'm going to tell you, you need to see this, because just to be part of the conversation, you're going to want to see this, because you're going to have a lot of laughs from having seen this. But there's going to come a point while you're watching it where you're like, oh my God, I still have an hour to go. But once you're in the club that you've seen it and you can talk about it, it's worth it.
It's good family viewing.
You just summed up my emotional roller coaster through this. A half hour in, I was thinking I was probably almost done, and I looked at the clock thinking, oh, Jesus Christ. I am never going to finish this movie.
It is shocking. It was like 90 minutes, right?
It was the longest 90 minutes of my life, yeah.
Like, this is custom made for a 75-minute kind of movie.
I think I would have liked it more, honestly, because it's like you said, Jack. I felt like the jokes ran out of steam about halfway through, and it just...
However, when you go to like a chiller theater or another horror con, if you're wearing a Greasy Strangler thing, people are going to come up to you and have a beer with you and laugh, and it's going to be a conversation starter.
No doubt.
Tim just brought something up that we have to address, which is also one of my favorite scenes. Oh, I'm so worried that Tim and I are agreeing on our favorite parts of this. The scene where the son is having sex with Janet, and it's his first time. And he keeps going, "Am I doing it right, Janet? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right, Janet?" Oh my God. I was crying. I was fucking crying during that scene.
Pamela is asking about the aspect ratio.
It's too wide.
Oh, we had it.
I think Sheridan said it was 1.85, maybe something like that. We're gonna go with that.
855 or something. I don't know.
I didn't
1.
notice it changing, even with the dick close-ups. It all looked the same. So
What about the car wash?
I do want a GIF of the car wash.
Come on. Anytime you would feel down, maybe you don't want to carry on, just flip that GIF on and just watch him.
It's like a bridge over troubled water. When you're down.
Am I doing it right, Janet? Am I doing it right? Doesn't it make you want to like be a virgin again? And then
No.
just be, oh my God. You know what? Because when you're a virgin, you're so terrified of your first time. I want to be the guy who puts the experienced girl on her toes. She's like, what the hell is with this guy? Am I doing it right?
I'm terrified to go out for breakfast, because now when I see breakfast sausage, I'm going to throw up. And I love breakfast sausage. I'm very sad.
Did you think that the son, who's got a considerable gut, shouldn't he have lots of red blisters on his belly from all that cooking without clothes on? He should have looked like, I don't know, like he had acne almost.
I'm sure from living in that house and eating that diet, their skin is like leather. You know, their immune systems are just top notch. Yeah, they're fine.
Why did he kill the blind guy?
Oh, God, there was like no reason for that other than he's the Greasy Strangler and Greasy Strangler got a kill. He was like the one nice guy who liked him.
And our eyeballs? Yeah, how'd you do with the eyeball stuff? Because you're a wuss about that.
They was so fake looking, I didn't care. It's when it's real, I'm like, I can't watch.
I just assumed he killed the blind guy and killed the girlfriend because this movie does the most preposterous thing it can do that's going to piss someone off at any given point.
Why'd he take her to a movie theater to kill her?
As the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get a ticket dressed like that?
There's got to be an extended director's cut that explains all this.
Here's the deal. And this is where I think the three of us would all agree this is a fan-fucking-tastic movie if we were stoners. So if we were kicking back with Elijah Wood with a big-ass bong in front of us, this movie would be our go-to every night.
Well, that's what I was saying before. This movie is going to become a cult classic because they clearly filmed it with that intention, and we're the first generation to see it, and most of the stuff that's cult classic, it got terrible reviews and whatever, and then it's going to find life, you know, in the with the specific niche of younger kids and stoners and breakfast aficionados.
And by the way, what the fuck was up with that character Oinker?
I have no idea. What was that about?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
A guy who wears a fake pig nose, hiding the fact that he has an empty chasm where his nose should be. What?
He sticks his finger in.
Scoops it out. Scoop at that head grease.
See, those are the crazy things. Like I said, if there was more of that crazy gore stuff, I really feel like I'd have been on board more. Because that seems just insane.
This was based on a true story, right?
Yes.
It's in Cleveland right now.
Like the Blackwell Ghost.
And the upcoming Exorcist movie.
I am praying there's going to be a Greasy Strangler sequel.
Greasy Exorcist.
So because of now we potentially either have no Greasy Stranglers or we have two. So
True.
we can branch this shit out like Game of Thrones eventually.
I don't think it really matters because Badder Ben is coming out soon.
What if he did the Greasy Strangler meets Bad Ben?
God damn it.
God.
God damn it, I can't hold you.
They're getting grease all over the house. I'm never going to resell it.
Need to make my sausage greasier. Fuck you. Oh, God.
So, just think, we get to do Badder Ben in a month.
Oh, I'm so happy, man.
Who cares what great horror movies might be out in the month of October? We have to set aside time for Badder Ben.
Oh, hell yeah.
Should do a 2-episode giant arc.
Or do we do 3? Do we dedicate an episode to each one of them?
All right, let's not get carried away.
Not
we'll
stealing
talk about
the
Bad Ben
road.
in one show.
Fine, whatever.
Welcome to the
Okay,
Bad Ben podcast.
So how many penises hiding in a merkin would you guys give it?
Go ahead, Jack.
I give it 5 out of 10 Jimmy Dean sausage links.
Jason.
With extra grease.
Yeah, I'd probably give it 2 greasy fingers out of 4. You need to watch this. You need to watch it. Everyone else is apparently getting tortured in the same way you are, so just go through it. There's some good jokes in there. It's too long, but I'll be curious to see in a couple years, like you said, Jack, if it's a little more of a cult thing. It kind of already is a cult thing, to be honest. But
Exactly. And if we
It was
all start
alright.
smoking weed, we're going to enjoy this again.
the humor just got old to me.
I'm going to give it 7 grease-dipped mangled dildos out of 10.
Ew.
You know,
Serially. I'll watch this
The
again.
problem is you have so many of those in your closet that you just give them away willy-nilly.
Absolutely. I might just have a little giveaway after the show. Anybody who's been on will get one. Slightly used.
Hey, listen. They retain their resale
Yes.
value.
Now, once it comes out of the sex shop, it loses.
Yes.
It loses
Depreciates.
value. It depreciates immediately. Your
What's the
dildo
Kelly
touched
Blue
air.
Book on this baby?
This is the rabbit from
The
1998.
Kelly Blue Balls value.
I have burned out the motor, and we have rubbed it raw.
Okay. So there we go. That's the Greasy Strangler, everybody. We thank and apologize
Yeah, sorry.
anybody who watched that along with us. I do think if you're a completist like we are, or a sadist, you got to watch it. And that is going to be it for tonight. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Don't forget, every Tuesday night, I almost said Thursday.
Speaking of it,
Oh,
that's
God.
going to be it.
Sorry. Next week's episode is it. And let me tell you, if this movie isn't good, my review will be shit. But from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be the balls. So everyone, come on in next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, finalguys.com. We're going to talk about it. I am watching a TV series I'm dying to tell everyone about, so I'll talk about that next week. And that's it. Good night, everybody.
Peace.
God damn it.
Like you just don't care.